Pac-Man World 2 Re-Pac brings one of Pac-Man's most memorable 3D adventures back for a new generation, mixing classic platforming with updated visuals, remixed levels, and modern quality of life improvements. But while the game does a great job capturing the charm of the original, there are still a few old school frustrations that hold it back from feeling completely perfect. Pac-Man World 2 Re-Pac follows Pac-Man as he travels across 6 different regions of Pac-Land to recover the stolen golden fruit and save the world from chaos. What starts as a simple adventure quickly turns into a journey filled with enemies, obstacles, platforming challenges, and large boss encounters that test your skills throughout the entire game. The story itself is fairly simple, but that's part of the game's charm. This isn't trying to be a deep emotional narrative or a massive open world RPG. Instead, it focuses on delivering a lighthearted and fun platforming experience that stays true to the classic Pac-Man style. Each region has its own unique look, atmosphere, and set of challenges. Some areas feel colorful and playful, while others lean more into hazardous platforming sections filled with traps, moving objects, and fast-paced chase sequences. This constantly helps the adventure feel like it's moving forward instead of staying stuck in one style of gameplay. The game also does a good job of keeping things accessible for younger players out there while still giving older fans like myself something nostalgic to enjoy. There's a certain classic platformer energy here that actually feels more reminiscent of the early 2000s 3D platforming games, especially for us gamers who grew up with the original Pac-Man World titles. While the story isn't overly complex, it fits the game perfectly and helps keep the game experience charming from start to finish. When it comes to presentation, Pac-Man World 2 Re-Pac does a really good job modernizing the original game without losing the classic feel that made it special in the first place. Visually, the game looks bright, colorful, and clean across most of its actual environments. Character models, it actually has been updated with more detail. Lighting looks much better than the original version, and many of the environments now feel far more alive thanks to improved effects, textures, and animations. Pac-Man himself looks great here. His expressions, movements, animations, and overall design do a good job of maintaining the iconic Pac-Man style while still feeling modern enough for actual current hardware. The environmental variety also helps the game stand out. From lush forests and ice stages to industrial areas and underwater sections, each region has its own distinctive personality. Some levels also feature unique visual gimmicks that helps break up the platforming and keeps the experience feeling fresh. The sound design is also solid overall. Sound effects for running, jumping, attacking, collecting items, and using abilities all feel responsive and satisfying. The game does a good job of using audio to make movement and platforming feel more impactful. The music especially fits the tone of the game well. Many of the tracks carry a fun, lighthearted energy that perfectly matches the family-friendly atmosphere of the adventure, while some tracks aren't necessarily memorable long-term. They still do a good job of supporting the gameplay without becoming distracting. Performance on PlayStation 5 was smooth throughout most of the experience. The game runs at a stable 60 frames per second, which helps movement and platforming feel much more responsive. Loading times are also quick, making it easy to jump back into the action after failing a challenge or restarting a level. Overall, Pac-Man World 2 Re-Pac does a strong job balancing nostalgia with modern presentation improvements. The gameplay is where Pac-Man World 2 Re-Pac really shines. At its core, this is a classic 3D platformer built around exploration, movement, light combat, and collecting items throughout each level. Pac-Man has access to multiple abilities including the Rev Roll, Butt Bounce, and Flip Kick, which all play important roles during both platforming and combat sections. The Rev Roll especially becomes one of the most important tools in the game. It allows Pac-Man to build speed, break through certain objects, and access different parts of levels. Some stages even revolve around using this move effectively to avoid hazards or complete fast-paced sequences. The platforming feels simple to understand but still manages to offer a nice variety of challenges throughout the adventure. Some levels focus more on precision jumping, while others lean into action sequences, chase moments, or special gimmicks like ice skating, rollerblading, or underwater exploration. These different gameplay styles help prevent the experience from feeling too repetitive. The level design also does a good job of encountering exploration throughout each stage. Players can actually collect Pac dots, fruit tokens, power pellets, and other hidden items that reward careful exploration and replayability. Power pellets are especially important because they give Pac-Man temporary abilities that help during combat or certain platforming sections. These moments help add extra variety to the gameplay loop. The game also introduces extra missions like time trials, collecting all fruit, and completing certain challenges to unlock additional content. Gamers can earn new costumes for Pac-Man, collect special figurines, and unlock bonus material such as music tracks, art galleries, and even classic Pac-Man games. The hub area Pacville also helps give the game more personality. It acts as a certain location where players can actually view collectibles, access bonus content, and interact with different features between missions. Boss fights have also been updated for this version of the game, with some encounters being remixed or completely replaced. These battles genuinely do a good job of breaking up the platformer with larger set-piece moments that require us players to learn attack patterns and use Pac-Man's abilities effectively. However, this is also where some of the game's biggest problems begin to appear. While Pac-Man World 2 Re-Pac is fun overall, there are definitely some issues that prevent it from feeling completely polished. The biggest issue comes from the boss fights. The regular stage genuinely feels fairly balanced and accessible, but the bosses sometimes feel like they belong to a completely different game. Many of these fights are much longer than expected, with multiple phases and very little room for error. Instead of feeling exciting, some of these encounters start to feel drawn out or repetitive over time, especially when you have to repeat long sections after making small mistakes. The camera system also creates frustration during certain platforming or boss moments. There are times where the camera shifts into an awkward angle or doesn't provide enough visibility to properly read what's happening on screen. This becomes even more noticeable during tight platforming sections where precise movement is important. Sometimes it feels like you're fighting the camera more than the actual challenge itself. Input responses can also feel slightly inconsistent at times, while most of the game controls well. There were moments where jump attacks or special moves felt like a little bit delayed compared to what I was actually expecting. These small delays may not ruin the experience, but during harder sections, they can lead to frustrating failures that don't always feel completely fair. Some gamers like myself may also find certain parts of the game a little bit too simple compared to modern 3D platformers. While the game clearly targets a broader family-friendly audience, veteran platformer players may wish there were more complex mechanics or deeper level designs in certain areas. Still, even with these issues, the game remains consistently fun thanks to its strong platforming foundation, charming style, and variety of gameplay moments. At its best, Pac-Man World 2 Re-Pac successfully brings a classic 3D platformer into the modern era with updated visuals, smoother performance, and remixed content, and a lot of the same charm that made the original game memorable. The platformer is fun, the presentation looks great, and the game does a good job balancing nostalgia with modern improvements. The extra collectibles, bonus content, and updated boss encounters also help give returning players something new to experience. However, camera issues, some input delays, and frustrating boss fights prevent the game from feeling completely perfect. Even so, there's still a lot to enjoy here for both longtime Pac-Man fans and new players looking for a family fun game. If you grew up playing classic Pac-Man World games, this remake will probably hit that nostalgic feeling very well. And for fewer newer players, it offers a colorful and accessible platforming experience that's easy to pick up and enjoy. For that, I'm giving Pac-Man World 2 Re-Pac a 4 out of 5. Thank you for tuning into the Gamer Section, your home for independent gaming journalism. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you'll never miss future reviews, podcasts, interviews, and gaming coverage right here on the Gamer Section.